Let's get into John Howard, among others, has come out to say, look, sporting organisations, I get it, but please don't get involved in The Voice because we don't want your politics involved in the thing that's supposed to distract from the rest of the world. And the reality is there's not uniformity in all the clubs, let alone all the supporters, so there's no need for the organisations to take a position. It is a very powerful tool that the Yes machine looks like it's going to have, but what do you think? It was everything from the Olympic Committee to the AFL and the NRL last week.
Yeah, look, I think Mr Howard's absolutely right that sporting organisations have no place whatsoever when it comes to political issues. It's also very arrogant to suggest that they could influence Australians on a matter that affects, well, everybody, but treats Indigenous Australians in a most paternalistic way to actually take for granted and suggest that they know what's best for Indigenous Australians. And somehow, there was a recent poll of I think it was more like a survey of about 300 people who we don't know whether they were Indigenous or not. But now the Yes campaign are trying to suggest that the majority of Indigenous Australians are in support of this, which is nonsense, and is not at all evidence that points in that particular direction. But I think it's deeply insulting as an Indigenous Australian that sporting codes think that they know what's best for my life, my family's life, and are dictating to the rest of the country what they think's best when they are absolutely and utterly removed of the circumstances of my family, and effectively dividing our nation along the lines of race.
Also, the ABC, you got Senate estimates this week. I presume at some point in time you've got another chance to have a look at David Anderson, the boss of the ABC, and ask him some questions. But, geez, it's pretty obvious which way that joint's going to go. And it's pretty obvious if you appear on a show, it's full of interruptions for 7 minutes versus 12 minutes of uninterrupted if it happens to be Yes.
Yeah, look, that's exactly right. It doesn't matter what ABC program it's on, whether it's Breakfast on RN or whether it's on Q&A. If you are somebody who doesn't agree with The Voice, you are quite often interrupted by the host and challenged and spoken over, and you have to fight to be heard, basically. But predominantly, the majority of airtime is given to those who support The Voice, and predominantly Indigenous people who support The Voice. And what we're finding, myself and Warren Mundine are finding, is that they are giving more airtime. They would, like, for example, they'd give airtime to Indigenous people who support The Voice, but then compare them to a non-Indigenous person who is not in support of The Voice, instead of giving a level playing field in terms of Indigenous people who are for and those who are against. And it's evident. Thomas Mayer's new book has come out, and you've got comments by Patricia Karvelis, fawning all over it, saying how wonderful it is, as well as Lara Tingle doing the same thing. These people are not, their bias is on show. They're not balanced reporters. And certainly I'll be taking this up with the ABC once again during Senate estimates.
And now that you're in a scenario where two of the major no organisations have now come together, how important is it, not just that you're all singing off the same song sheet, but basically you can now divvy up the country for how you can go in different places rather than doubling up. Oh, you've been in South Australia, Warren was there last week. That you can start to use the limited resources compared to Yes more effectively.
That's right. We can combine powers, combine resources, work more effectively together, be on the same page. Absolutely, in terms of strategy, go to different parts of the country where we feel we need to go. I mean, look, Warren was doing a wonderful job already, previously, when he was part of Recognise a Better Way. Recognise a Better Way were doing, their strengths were certainly writing opinion pieces and papers and those sorts of things. Our strength in terms of Fair Australia was getting out there, creating the ads and smashing the campaign, but now bringing it together is going to be so much better. We are so much stronger united than what we are divided. And I think certainly for those of us who support us around the country, it makes it a lot easier for them also to go to one particular place, one place only to support, which is through fairaustralia.com.au.
There you go, fairaustralia.com.au. Lovely to see you, mate. We'll talk again very, very soon. Again, happy Mother's Day. Senator Price, all the best.